So the voluntary information entered by the caretakers or family members in the Operation Safe Outcomes portal or database is then transferred into our CAD, which is computer-aided dispatch. So we have a Safe Outcomes coordinator. That coordinator will verify all of the information that someone submits. If they have any questions about any of the information submitted, they'll call that person to just kind of get some clarity on what it is that they've entered. Once our coordinator determines that all the information is accurate, then once she hits submit, it automatically transfers into our CAD. When 911 receives a call for service, and that address has been deemed a Safe Outcomes address, there will be an alert for the 911 dispatcher that this is a Safe Outcomes address. Within that call that's created, a PDF will then be accessible by a link in that call. From there, once dispatch gives out that call to the deputies and they send it to the deputy, we all have MBTs in our cars and in-car computers. The deputy has access to all of the same information that dispatch has. So within that call, they click a link and then a PDF of all that person's information pulls up that they are responding to assist. So during the registration process, there's a couple of things that are going to be mandatory, and there are some things that are not mandatory. An email address is going to be required. Emails will be sent to the registry person asking if there are any updates to the profile. This will occur periodically during a 2-year period. A registered person will stay in the database for 2 years. If the person registering them does any type of update to that account or profile within a 2-year period, they get extended for 2 years from the date of that update. If there are no updates done within a 2-year period, the person that has been registered will purge out of the system. This is what the deputies see. This is what the dispatchers see. This is kind of difficult to read a little bit, so there is a copy of this on your table. The picture up there is actually Dave DeBose. He is, and one of the things I'm proud about with this program is we did this all in-house. We didn't go and purchase any type of software or anything like this. Dave was the main IT guy that I worked many hours with to create this database and portal. So that's actually Dave up there in the picture. So information, we have admin notes. We're currently working on adding deputy notes as well. And I'll explain why we're working on that. Underneath of Dave's picture, you have the community. That's for the subdivision or neighborhood that somebody might live in. And then it's going to have their address. It'll also have their date of birth, their race, sex, height, weight, eye color, and hair color. Underneath of that, you'll have the home type. Is this a house? Is it an apartment? Is it an assisted living facility? Wandering tendency. Do they wander or do they not? Are they verbal or nonverbal? Type of medication, that is not a requirement, but you'll see why that's important to put in there in a short time. And then what their language is, medical issues, commonly worn items, if they have a tendency to wear the same type of clothing or same color, and how to approach this person. And then you see trigger words and special considerations. So what that's for is, obviously, you know your loved ones better than we do. If you know that there's a topic or words that we should stay away from that's only going to anger them, we want to know that. If they have things that they really like to talk about where we can help build a good rapport with them, we want to know that as well. That's the whole purpose of this program, is to have a positive interaction and resolve things peacefully if that's the direction it's going. Up on the right-hand side, you'll see the person who is registering them, or what their preferred name is, contact number, diagnosis, if there's one available, the details, and then the last time that it has been updated. We've also added to that hospital preference. So if they prefer a certain hospital, you can add that in as well. And then you have your primary contact. You can also add 2 people as primary contact. So, for example, we have a huge issue with elderly with Alzheimer's getting out and wandering around. And oftentimes we need those different contacts in order to make contact so we can get them home safely. So that's important to have as many contacts as possible. How we use this information. So once the deputies pull up that PDF, when they receive the call for service, they're going to start formulating a game plan on basically how they're going to respond. That includes everything from which route they're going to take, where they're going to park, how they're going to approach the residents, and given all the information that they receive, how they're going to attempt to handle the specific situation. All of the information that they receive from dispatch is given to them from the initial complainant. There are times when complainants call in, they're in a state of hysteria. Imagine that, you know, if you've never experienced this before, one of your loved ones gets out of the house and you have no idea where you are, you call in the dispatch, you're going to be frantic. That's acceptable. You know, we understand that. But sometimes during that state of hysteria, that can also lead to misinformation. There are a lot of times when we go to calls for service when people call in, and we get there and we kind of figure out that's not really what was told to us, you know, through dispatch. So sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. With Operation Safe Outcomes, we will have all of their information that's been provided. It's done in a state of calmness on their own time, on their own terms, so that the information we can assume is going to be fairly accurate. So once we have, and I'm kind of divert a little bit to the missing persons, we've had over 50 missing persons that we reported last year, that's quite a bit. We have a search and rescue team, and we have changed at the sheriff's office the way that we respond to missing persons. Has anybody in here ever had to report somebody missing? What we used to do is you used to call into the sheriff's office, you call in the dispatch. Dispatch would then transfer you to the front desk. Front desk deputy would take the report. Unless there were some type of really extenuating circumstances, that'd be the end of your interaction with law enforcement. Truth be told, that's not good customer service, you know? So what we've done is we now respond to every missing person. So if you call in a missing person, deputies are coming out, okay? They will bring search and rescue team. We have a team basically of these guys that specialize in this. They'll bring out canines or bloodhounds. The initial deputies are going to do a search of the perimeter. The first thing you're going to do that they're going to do, which you might think is odd, is they're going to search the inside of your house. We always do that. We'll even do a secondary search. You would be amazed at the number of times the parents call their kids missing, 5 or 6 years old, and they're out looking around frantically. We go in the house and they're in the dryer or they're behind the couch. It happens more times than you would think. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to search inside of the house, probably twice. Then we're going to search the perimeter of your house. We're probably going to go around maybe a 100-yard radius around your house and make sure that they're not in that vicinity. Then we have the ability to bring out drones, code red, and then a helicopter, which we do typically. Code red is a reverse 911 system, basically, where the deputies call in to dispatch and they give them all your loved one's information, and they will set a perimeter on it. So it could go for 1 mile or 2 miles. Everybody within that 2-mile radius is going to get a phone call with all of your loved one's information. That, hey, be on the lookout for this person. If you see them, call us and tell them what it's about. Here's a success story of a 6-year-old young man who has autism, who is nonverbal, and this was fairly recent. So I just want you to listen to this 911 call.
Emergency. Alright, 5 Basin Street, lot number 3. I'm calling because my son, he's autistic. He woke up early this morning and he likes to get out of the house and wander around a lot. And he walks out of the house and I can't find him. He's 6-year-old. Yes, ma'am. What's his name? Me and my Monica. Spell first name for me. Meatmiah. And what was his last name? Monica, Mojica. I have him registered for that thing online last time he got out. The police gave me a voucher. Okay, yeah. I mean, this looks like Hispanic. And what was he wearing when you last seen him? He was wearing a black champion shirt, and I think he's in his underwear because he was looking like that and he doesn't put shoes on, so he probably doesn't have shoes on. Okay. Hold on, just one second, okay? Yeah, there are alarms going off that people come. And the house that he went to yesterday right here, they're gone. Was the people that was out here yesterday. All right, I did see the state outcome. I get a picture of him. I got him. He got his by Bubba. Yes, he goes where Bubba is.
And that's critical information to have when we're out there.
All right, so look in here. I've got the colors in, that these are already away, so I'm not pulling them down, okay? I got that 3 foot 5 inches. It's just about to get down, okay? And then he wakes up and he gets down. Yes, ma'am, he had to just let down because I just, and then he laughed at me, it was about 5:45, I heard him awake, and, I know he likes to get out of the house, so I put the couch in front of the door, and he laid back down, but he said sleepy, and so I was like, okay, he laid down, so he has to have got down, but I looked for him before I called you. He likes to run to the neighbor's house and down the street a lot, so there's like 3 of us out here trying to look for him. Okay.
So a couple of things with that. One is the nickname that he goes by. That's crucial for us to have. 2, we have his picture. And you notice that she left that out. You know, it was the dispatcher when she pulled it up on the safe outcomes. She could see that he goes by Bubba. Okay? Or else it's very likely she would have forgotten to give us that information. This was a determined young man. He's autistic, he's nonverbal. She, as you heard, he had the couch in front of the door because this is a problem, you know, that he does. And, you know, this call was in August. It was at nighttime, and it was over on the west side, really close to Cedar Lane Road, which is a fairly busy road, and that's actually where we found him, wandering around on Cedar Lane Road. So I'm happy to say that it only took us several minutes to get over there in the area and to locate him and get him back home. So would we have found him without safe outcomes? I would like to think that we would, because when we hear that, a 6-year-old or an elderly person, I mean, we're sending everybody that we can to that area to try to locate them. So it was just a matter of minutes. And one of the things it does, especially having a picture, is it keeps deputies from getting on the radio and saying, hey, can I get a description? Can I get a description? Every deputy that responds to that call, they get that call on their computer, and all they get to do is click on that link. And everybody has the same information. So the radio is free. This is one of the things that I'm really, really proud about with this program. This is not just for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. We created this and made this so that every first responder agency in Greenville County has the same information. So what happens is we're all on the same computer-aided dispatch. We all use Central Square Tri-Tech, is what it's called. Every fire department in Greenville County has it. Every EMS person has it. The police municipalities, Greenville City has it. Simpsonville City has it. Malden has it. So if you go to register someone and you don't live in our jurisdiction, that's okay. It will automatically filter. If you live in Greenville City, it automatically filters to Greenville City. All right? This is super important, especially with EMS, and that's why we added in hospital preference. If we respond to somebody that's disabled and maybe they're unconscious or there's nobody around, maybe they're not in the right frame of mind at that particular moment, and there's nobody around that we can actually speak to, we know what hospital to go to. We know what medications that are on. That's super important for EMS to have all that information. So that is one of our, we're very pleased with that it's for the entire Greenville County. Partnerships, I've been doing quite a few of these presentations. It is outside of my comfort zone. You maybe noticed a little bit. I'm used to, stop, don't do that. You're under arrest or whatever. This is way out of my comfort zone. But as with anything in law enforcement, whether it be crime or whether it be programs like this, we rely on you guys to help us solve crime or to make this program successful. We need business interaction from all types of agencies, whether it's government, private, nonprofit, whatever it may be. We need everybody's help. And without everybody's help, then we won't be as successful as we could be. Here's my card. There's a couple laying on the table. I have a few more up here if anybody wants one, or you can take a picture. That is my county cell phone number. It is pretty much attached to my face 24/7 at all times. Give me your phone, I'm expected to answer it. And this thing goes off quite often. My email address is on the bottom. Feel free to give me shoot an email, give me a call. I try to be very responsive. So if you don't hear from me a day or so, email me back. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Y'all have like a digital summary? I got the brochure, but just something that we could like mass send out to our participants.
If you will send me an email, I will forward these brochures and all of this information to you via email.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yes, sir.
I work for a hospital, and I'm curious, do you guys go to hospitals and let social workers know about this program, both during the ERs? From that perspective?
Maybe not to that degree. Last week I did do a presentation via Google Meets with Prison and Geriatric Division. There were probably 25 to 30 people on that call. So we are in the process of trying to push that out. I've also been to an assisted living facility over on Five Forks Road. And in that meeting, there were different people from various organizations throughout Greenville County. So we are kind of in the early stages of trying to get this pushed out. I've done a press conference, a news conference on it. We've done a media release. So I've also incorporated a team of guys that from the law enforcement side work with vulnerable adults. And they have reached out to me wanting to help and come out and do presentations and go to these different organizations. But that is on my list. Yes, sir.
Not a question so much as just a comment for the group that as a provider at Thrive Upstate looked at this and we said, given what we do in the nature of confidentiality and so forth, because we are not family members, obviously, we didn't feel necessarily we could always implement Project Safe Outcomes the way it's described. But Captain Gladson was still very helpful in getting our residences that we operate connected with the dispatch. And so I say that just to say, even if you think, well, that might not be appropriate for my loved one or for the person that I'm supporting, I would still highly recommend you reach out to Captain Gladson, explain your scenario, and he will, and or his team, provide resources or support regardless of Project Safe Outcomes being the right solution, which it likely could be, or something else. So just to say, regardless of your situation, I highly recommend you reach out to Captain Gladson and his team. We're really glad we did.
Thank you, Mr. Rex. And what we did, what he's talking about is, you guys know, he operates he's responsible for about 40 or so homes within Greenville County where people reside. So his situation was a little unique. So what we were able to do is go into, he provided us the addresses. We were able to go into CAD and basically create what's called a flag. And within that flag, we could add notes to it. So it's very similar to Safe Outcomes. And basically the note was, even though we don't have individuals' particular information that we may be going to one of those homes, we put a flag in there with a note that says, upon arrival, you need to make contact with the person that is in charge, basically. And so instead of making contact with one of the residents at home, the first thing that you should do is make contact with that person that oversees that home so they can get the proper information. enough place where we do. But please, reach out. I mean, we will do everything that we can to assist you and meet whatever it is that you're asking us. There's nothing off limits. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is this going to be implemented throughout all of the other counties, or is it just
Well,
starting here?
I can't tell them what to do. I think that we're probably one of the first in the state to implement something like this on a countywide basis. I know that there are other agencies and other counties that have things that are similar. And we're more than welcome. You know, we will definitely go out. A lot of times, like the Sheriff's Association, we have all the sheriffs around from all the counties. That'd be a good place to implement this. But we are certainly in contact with, you know, Spartanburg, Pickens, Anderson, and they're aware of what we do.
Yeah. So what kind of training do the officers receive as far as specific to communication styles or to just strategies for interacting for those individuals? Because I know depending on what the disability is, they can be very unique.
Sure. Our deputies have gone through mental health crisis training, I guess, a lack of terminology on my part. A lot of them have gone through 40-hour classes through that, through NAMI, who's put that on. We also require, myself and my co-captain have required that our platoons do 3 mandatory roll call trainings every pay period. And a lot of times we choose those topics, a lot of times the lieutenants choose those topics. And it's not always geared towards this, so I'm not going to mislead you that way.
Yeah,
It depends, you know, sometimes there's an incident on a call that maybe we could have done something differently, or maybe somebody did a really great job, but now we need to educate the rest of the deputies on it. So it really runs the gamut as far as what our roll call trainings are, but we have addressed this in some of the roll calls.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
Is this more for people with communication and processing difficulties versus physical?
I would say so, but here's what I would say to that. If you have somebody that has a physical disability, then maybe they are physically limited or confined, and they are, maybe somebody that's confined to a wheelchair lives on their own, right? Maybe they fall, they're not able to get up. If they have this and they're able to call 911, it would register as the safe outcomes address. Well, all the information in there, we could see that, okay, well, they're confined to a wheelchair. So if we go knocking on the door and nobody answers, well, we have a clue. So now we know we're just not going to turn around and leave. We may need to explore some other options, whether it be calling a hospital, see if they've been transported, checking the mailbox, see if there's a buildup of mail in there, checking the trash cans to see if their trash has been picked up, different things like that. If we've exhausted all of that stuff, all of that information, we've gone through that process, we're going to force the door open to go in. So I would encourage you, yes, it's geared more towards that, but if there are physical disabilities, I would encourage you to push that.
You know, I worry about elderly people, like I'm worried about my dad, you know, he fell in the bathroom.
Right.
So I call him twice a day to make sure he's not walking around on the bathroom.
Right.
But he was, and the door was locked. We had a key for him. And I wonder if that's something to add to that.
Absolutely. That could be added in the admin note. And it could be added, if there's an easement to be added in there. And that would not be a problem at all. You know, that is a common sense. And so that's very reasonable, and that would be asked.
An elderly person living on their own would be eligible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, we have a process that we have to go through. You know, we're not going to write them to knock the door every time we put it in. We can't do that. Right? That gets in trouble. But we need to go through this list and just exhaust the list of the hospitals, trying to make contact with families, checking their neighbors, checking the trash, checking the mailboxes, all those little things. Once we've exhausted all that, and if it's a situation like the same with the father, then we will absolutely go there. But also, too, your information will be on there. We can call you, right? Hey, you can kind of give us a little bit more background information on your dad, and then that gives you more justification of it, but we need to get in there, you know.
I started a Nicholstown Neighborhood Association, which was run by one of the calls a few months ago. And you have an officer, I can't remember his name, I think.
Possibly. I'll be honest, I don't know very many Greenville
He's
city
on
officers.
their call, he's on there.
Okay.
I don't know if other neighborhoods have an association like that, but they can keep it and talk about it. It's a neighborhood association. A
Absolutely.
lot of buildings in there.
And please, like I said, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I have no issue doing any kind of presentation for any group or any neighborhood or anything like that. Just give me a little bit of time so I can put it on my calendar. That's all. Yes, ma'am.
I may have missed it. How long has this program been initiated?
The implementation process took a little bit longer than we had hoped. So we ran into some technical issues, but really probably since about late last summer. Yes, sir.
When you say vulnerable, you're talking about, physical, nonverbal. What about like children or teenagers that might have a tendency to run away? Is that something that we can register them for?
I would say if they have some type of maybe bipolar disorder or personality disorder or something along those lines, we do have a lot of runaway teenagers. A lot of them for no other reason than just juvenile defiance. And we're very fortunate to recover the majority of them. I don't know any that would have it. But I would kind of stick to those guidelines. If there's some type of mental issues going on there, medicinal as far as bipolar, any of that type of stuff, then yes, I would say register. If it's just for the sake of being a teenager and they're being defiant towards their parents and rule and governing authority, I would say no.
Yeah, makes sense.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having me.